Jayne Denham is an artist who I think it's safe to say is a powerhouse. She has released 5 albums. Her most recent was Wanted in 2021, and Golden Guitar nominations followed that. She now has a brand new song, Moonshine, featuring the American artist Colt Ford. We're going to talk about that and about Wanted because I haven't had the chance to chat to her about that. Hi, Jayne.
Hey, Sophie. Thanks for having me on the show.
The pleasure. And you are a powerhouse, and I always love your voice every time I hear new music from you. It's just fantastic. So I'm going to start with the new music, Moonshine. What is the story behind it? How did you come across this song?
Well, funny you should say that, because this song, I actually wanted to put it on Wanted, my last album. And it's now the first single off my next album. And what happened was so because the Wanted album was so specific with what I wanted it to be under the umbrella, it had to be, specific songs, I guess, to match the title of the album and what I was trying to achieve with that record. And Moonshine was perfect. And I'm like, yeah, imagine singing this song, because it came from Nashville as a male demo. And I went, but wait, what if a chick does this song? Oh my gosh, like a chick singing about love, being like, when I drink moonshine and when I'm with you, it makes me have that same feeling. And I'm like, it's such a cool thing to do as a chick. So I ended up saying, yes, I want that song. Please put it on hold. And they said, we're really sorry, but someone put it on hold yesterday. And I'm like, no. And I'm like, because I totally loved the song. I felt the hooks were just so ridiculously strong, and I could see it visually live, which is one of my, favorite things to do, is create a live show. And so, yeah, it was really funny. It went on hold, and then I kept saying, Moonshine, where is it? It's not out on Spotify. No one's recorded it. Get me Moonshine. I want Moonshine. And this went on for about 1.5 years. Wow. And then blow me down. They said, we've got good news. You've got Moonshine. And I'm like, no way. And then the next minute, it was so meant to be. So thanks to whoever put it on hold, because I would never have got to record it with Colt Ford if I'd recorded it for the Wanted album. So it was meant to be. So yeah, it was really cool that I finally got my song.
Well, and it's great that you can take that philosophical stance on it, like it was meant to be, that it was delayed. So how did you get Colt involved?
So my management, Dead Horse Branding, the team, the Rick and Mel, who are the CEOs of the company, and my management, they are Australians but live in Nashville. And so they said to me, we really want to pitch this song to a male artist to sing it with you. And they pitched it to Colt. And what attracted him the most was the song. He loved the song. And he, was happy to come on board. And I think the good thing about Colt Ford, and Rick and Mel, my management, said, and Brittany, who's my day-to-day as well, they said, who would you like to sing it with? Give me 5 people, like give us your top 5. And Colt Ford was one of them, because I thought it totally makes sense, because his type of fan, his branding is very much on point with mine. And so I actually never thought it was actually going to happen. I was like, oh, he'll probably just pass, So yeah, to have recorded it with Colt, and then we've just finished filming the video and it's about to come out shortly. I got to go to Nashville and shoot it with him and got to meet him, and so that was really really special, and he's a really cool guy and we got on really well. So who knows, maybe a tour is in the future.
Well, it would be a good matchup. So was it a bit odd not having met him before you recorded, but now having met him for the video? Or is it, I guess it's just the way things are done, with vocals when someone's in another country?
Yeah, I think with when you have got a similar vibe, it just works. Do you know what I mean? Like, yeah. I thought as soon as I met him, like, I wasn't sure what he was going to be like. I kind of had an idea, but as soon as we met, he loves Australia for one, right, and he's just a really cool guy. And so it was just, yeah, as soon as we met, we were like, yeah, kindred spirits. We both love to be a bit redneck and rock and roll.
And your vocals are so different because you have this incredible voice and he doesn't sing. He's known for rapping. So it's that good balance of your vocal being able to shine because he's not trying to compete with you as a singer.
Yeah. It was really nice. And he actually wrote the rap and sent it to us, and it totally matched the song. So yeah, we were very chuffed.
Now you have had a duet partner before. Troy Kemp performed Rainstorm with you on Wanted, which is one of my favorite songs on that album.
Aww,
the two of you work so well together, and again, a great balance of vocals. What do you like about having a male duet partner?
Well, it was sort of funny because Hung Up on You was the first song I did with Troy years ago, and we got nominated for a Golden Guitar for Vocal Collab of the Year. It went to #1 on radio and video clip. But it was like one of those things, you can't predict what the sound's going to be, I think, with a vocal collaboration. And that was the most unplanned, no money spent kind of thing. And what it was, we were going on tour together and we were really good mates. And we went, let's just get a song and, record it and chuck it out there and see what happens. And it blew up, and it was way beyond what we ever imagined. But I think you don't know till you get in the studio actually, or until you actually sing on the track, how the vocals are going to be. And for Troy and I, it worked. It was the tone of our voices. I think just something magical happened. And so after that, I sort of saw the value of working with other artists. And it was fun too. We get to promote it together and get excited together, because when you're a solo artist, it's all like, woohoo, I'm by myself and I've just gone #5 on blah, 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 or whatever. But when you're together, you can kind of celebrate it. So that, I think I've enjoyed that, because I'm a bit of a team player. I don't like doing things on my own. So if I had my way, I'd probably just be, a duo or in a band and be the vocalist, to be totally honest.
But then you'd have to organize a lot of other people. So I suppose there are doubts.
Yeah. No, I know. Like, seriously, as a kid, I was in that many bands, and we'd get the photo shoot and then someone would leave and we'd have to have another photo shoot, another photo shoot. I'm like, stuff this is not working for me.
I can, however, see the Troy Kemp Jayne Denham tour as well as the Colt Ford Jayne Denham tour, just in case it's an idea. But so as mentioned, Troy appears on Wanted, and Wanted is an epic album. It's like it is a concept album. So I'm interested that you factored him into that concept, if that makes sense, that out of people you could have picked, he was the one to sing with you on that album.
Yeah, well, Rainstorm was actually pitched to me by Troy, because we're Hung Up on You went so well, we thought, we've got to do another song together, and Rainstorm was that song. But we also had Car Trouble, which is out at the moment, and still doing its thing. It's number, it's in the top 10 on CMT, the video and stuff, so that's cool. But what happened was, he pitched me Rainstorm and said, hey, let's sing this song together, and then I stole it. I actually stole it from my record. Said, no, actually, can you just sing it with me on my record? So it wasn't a Jayne Denham, Troy Kemp thing. It was actually a Jayne Denham featuring Troy Kemp.
How did he feel about that? Did he mind you stealing it?
No, not at all. No, he loved the song anyway. So I think he was just glad. Let's face it, he didn't have to do any promotion. I had to do it all.
Well, there you go. But yeah, so Wanted, I think the song that really got its hooks into me from the start of listening to Wanted was Dear Jane, which is sort of like this incredibly powerful personal statement by you that sets the tone for the whole album. And I'm wondering, when you were putting that album together, if that was the first song you had.
Yeah, well, with Wanted, it actually started with the song Wanted. I actually never planned to do this country rock meets spaghetti western thing. I actually had planned to do a pop record. Well, pop, it's still going to be country rock, but with a pop flavor, because that was where everything was going in country music. But what happened was, I wrote the song Wanted with Matt Scullion and Troy Kemp, and I said, let's do it like this chick, and she's a gunfighter, and she's this badass, she's wanted you know, like, so she's a character, but she's wanted as well by men, and literally. So we wrote the song, and I said, let's make it spaghetti western, and it worked really well. So I said, oh my gosh, wouldn't it be cool to do a whole album like with that theme in mind? And so all these other songs that I had ready to go, I just chucked them out and went, you know what? I don't want to tick any boxes anymore. I just want to make an album that is musically something totally different to what, you know what I mean? Like you've got to tick all the boxes when you're in the industry. And I just went, I actually don't care anymore. I'm just going to do that. And so Dear Jane was a song that I wrote with Troy and Nat after we wrote Wanted,
right.
Because I said, well, let's kind of, and everyone always pushes me to put my heart on a song. I'm not very good at that because I'm a bit too like, woohoo, let's here for the party, you know, kind of, that's my vibe, which you already know anyway. But yeah, so Dear Jane, they kind of went, well, why don't we write a song that's a little bit more you? And I'd had that title for probably about 7 years, but I'd actually never written it. So when we wrote it, it was really nice to have not only a personal song that was mine, but I was actually able to get the production. And for anyone who's listened to the Wanted record, you know, the beauty of that record is really 70% of it is the music. It's like 100%. I always say 100% song. It's got to be a great song, but that album was musically what was epic. And so to put that epic soundtrack, like all the instruments and that we drew from spaghetti western movies, which, you know, if you listen to a spaghetti western movie, it's whoa, you know. So we were able to bring that into, because it's still country, into a country rock style and add the song. So I feel that's what made, I mean, I think Dear Jane, it's funny you should say that because a lot of people do say that that's their favorite song on the record. So yeah. So thanks. It's but I think it's all those elements chucked in the bag. It's personal, it's a great song, and the music just really brings it to life, which is, I think that's half the battle when you record a song, is how do you bring a melody and a lyric to life? And that's what producers were able to do. So thanks.
Well, you said the music on the album is epic, but you know, your voice is so crucial to the way it is delivered. I mean, you're saying the producers do their bit and whatever, but without your voice, that doesn't hinge together as a concept. That album, the power of Dear Jane is in the way you deliver it. So to go back to the very start of you as a performer, where did the voice come from? When did you realize you had this incredible instrument?
Well, my mum was a gospel singer, and she was trained operatic. And then my grandfather we all grew up singing in church. So that's kind of where the singing on a weekly basis, I guess, came from. But also what happened was my grandfather was an entertainer, and so he was in musicals, and so he was an actor, singer, always in costume, always in theatre. So I had a bit of both, if you know what I mean. Like I had my mum who was, well, actually both of them were extremely technically very well trained singers. But my grandfather was this entertainer type, and that's his personality. If you want to know what my grandfather was like, you've just met him in a female body. So yeah, whereas for me, like singing church was great, but I was definitely born to get on the stage and, you know, put on a show. So what happened was, when I was 14, I was at high school. I put my first band together, and I was listening to a lot of rock music. I grew up on country because my dad especially was very much into country music. So I grew up on country, but I then discovered people like Ann Wilson from Heart and Susie DiMarchi from the Baby Animals when I was in high school, and all that sort of music came, and I just sort of immersed myself in that style of singing. And I honestly think any singer will, like if you're into Taylor Swift, you'll find girls that listen to Taylor Swift will sound like Taylor Swift. And yes, they put their own spin on it, but there's still that undercurrent of who they immerse themselves in as a singer. So for me, Ann Wilson was my absolute, still to this day, hero.
Right.
So I was practicing in my bedroom, my poor parents and my neighbors, I know, right? You know, I was singing Barracuda and all these kind of, and they were actually a little bit older by the time I discovered them, but I just loved her voice. So by the time I started writing country music when I was in my, I guess, mid-20s, I didn't realize, but my roots of country music, but my vocal practice of singing rock, when I wrote music, it just blended the two together. And so, yeah, and it was funny because my first producers said to me, I'd actually been in bands. I was like, we were about to get signed to Sony. Again, this whole, you know, someone quits the band and the photo has to change again. I was in all these bands. I didn't actually want to be a solo artist. I wanted to be in a band. And we were doing Schoolies Week. I was like literally on the edge of breaking it in Australia in the rock scene. And we were doing Schoolies Week on the beach, and we were about to sign to Sony, and it all kind of fell apart because someone left the band as usual. And so then I was like, all right, well, what am I going to do now? And so I just started writing songs, and my friend handed my songs to these big name producers who'd worked with Felicity Urquhart, Colin Buchanan, and said, listen to this. And they just said, and this was what, nearly 17 years ago now. And they said, no one in country music sounds like this. We want to work with Jayne Denham. We want to produce her album. And so that's kind of how it came about. But really, I still think it's a lot of practice of that style of singing matched with country, the passion and the understanding of country music. So, yeah.
So when did you start writing songs separate to your singing? You obviously were doing a lot of songwriting.
Yeah, look, to be totally honest, I don't love songwriting. I know I have to do it, and I'm the sort of person, if I have something to say, obviously I have to say it. So I love working with other people, and I've always co-written every song like I've ever done. And even from the first song I wrote with, you know, I wrote a song about a girl that drove a truck. Now, I had no idea that was going to blow up, and the next minute I'm singing at every truck show in Australia, and then get invited to perform in America at the truck shows in the US. So I'm like, what? Am I a truck driver? No. But I just wrote a song about a girl. I just went, hey guys, and I was with my producers, and I just said, I've got this idea. It's about this girl. She drives. It's a true story, and she lives in Tamworth. And the next minute, yeah, we wrote this song called Cousin Jude, and the rest is history. So I I basically come up with these crazy ideas, and then I work together in a team, and then that's how we write. But that, I really only started doing that when I was in my mid-20s, really, like, because you know, you can do covers, but you're going to get stuck in that covers world. So if you want to be an artist, you have to say something and have, you know, be able to find songs. So that was actually really, really fun. Right. And I think as a creative person, I'm not the greatest songwriter in the world, but I think I'm great at concepts and melodies and lyrics, and then working in a team environment is where I shine. And I was very intimidated by that, to be honest, when I went to Nashville. Like, my producer, Brian White, and Brian Bunn, like, Brian Bunn's been nominated for Grammys for songwriting. Brian White, my other producer, he's written Jason Aldean number ones. He's had heaps of number ones. And I'm like, who am I? You know, but they love working with me because I always know what I want to say, you know, what the direction is. So for songwriters, I get these incredibly gifted people to hit my target. Like, here's the target, we're going here, right, let's go. And then they enjoy that, because I think that's half the battle as a songwriter is, well, what exactly do you want to say, and where do you want to go? You know, what's it going to be, you know? So, yeah, so I've learned that's my strength, and I'm really happy that, because they all ask me back. So I'm like, well, I must be okay to work with.
Well, you know, it is rare, I think, for someone to know their own nature actually as clearly as that. We can all sort of muddle through life and try to guess at what our nature is, but for you as an artist, as a professional, to say, I know what my strengths are, and I know what I would prefer other people to do in collaboration with me. I mean, that makes their lives easier, because you're not attempting to do things that you're actually not that keen on anyway.
That's right, exactly. And so I call myself the fence pale provider. I bring the bits of the fence, and you're going to help me build that fence. And I think it's so many songwriters, it's easy to turn up and go, okay, I'm ready, I want to write a hit song. Yeah, that's brilliant. How's that going to go without some sort of vision? So I wish I was like the people of the world that can just rip out a song in a second, but I think for me it's just who I am and how it's worked, and I actually love it. I love that side of it because I can turn up and they can just help me create together, which, as you can tell, I do like working in a group, so it's fun. I enjoy it.
But also that ability, I would imagine, also stems from you knowing yourself so well as a performer, and particularly as a live performer. You have tested your abilities in live arenas, so you know what you're bringing, you know what that skill set is. And you did say earlier that one of your favorite things to do is put together a live show. So when were your first ever live shows? At what age?
Oh, when I was 5. My mum, oh my gosh, I used to get in trouble all the time as a child going, Jayne, stop showing off.
So it's in your blood, as you said, your grandfather was a performer. So
it's the same. Like every Christmas, my grandfather, he's the life of the party. He'll have some strange thing. He's got Mars bars up his nose or something stupid, like he was just funny, and I think growing up in that crazy environment, it's just like, oh well, I think my thing is I just like to have fun, and if I'm not having fun, I'm not going to do it.
Now, the last track on Wanted is Beautiful World. I'm wondering, what are some of the things that make your world beautiful?
Oh, well, look, that song's really special to me anyway, but what things make I think being able to keep going as an artist is really, from an artist perspective, I guess, I've never been one. I think I don't ever want to be an artist that's flogging a dead horse. You know what I mean? Like, I want to do it and keep doing it as the doors open. And I feel like I'm very blessed because every time I think, oh, well, that's it, I've had a good time, I've had all these number ones and I've got to tour, and oh, well, I'll go do something else now. And then the next minute, a massive door opens and I'm like, okay, guess I'll keep going, and for me, that I feel that's been very, that's made my world pretty exciting over the years, because you just never know what's around the corner, and there's that saying, where they say you gave up right before your biggest breakthrough. And I think, I think for me, I just keep muddling my way through, and I've just been very lucky to have some opportunities. But, I'm happily married, and life's good. So I'm not complaining. I get to go on the road with him all the time. Dave comes on the road and he's my tour manager. So that's really fun because I'm not very good with detail. So he's good in my corner.
Well, also your job is to be the performer, and I think that's we were talking earlier about songwriting, and yes, some artists are songwriters and performers, but performance is such a particular skill, very hard to do well, and to keep doing it as you have been doing. So you don't have to be good at the details. That's someone else's job.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like super creative, and I think for me, because I was a dancer as a child and obviously grew up around my grandfather and my mom, and I visualize a lot of things. So even now with my new show, I'm madly listening and I visualize how it's going to look live. I'm actually very specific. I know exactly what I need it to look like. I know how it's going to flow, but I actually really enjoy that. Like, even as, like, this is going to sound completely crazy, but it'll give you an insight to my reality, is my mum and dad had this sliding glass doors out onto a veranda, and there was a door in this way, and then there was an archway into the oh, sorry, that's my fancy light, an archway into our kitchen. So it was our massive lounge room. Well, it wasn't massive, but it was a lounge room. And so of an evening, I swear I used to drive them mental, but I used to have the curtains back so that at night, you know how when you look in a mirror, a window at night, you see your reflection. So there weren't mirrors, but then I had stage left and stage right. And I used to like sing, it's like whether it was, you know, like a song that was popular on the radio at the time, I would go in and I would practice and I'd watch myself in the mirror, like the reflection of the glass, to see how, oh, that's a cool move. Oh, that looks good. Oh, yeah, I'm going to hold my microphone like this. So I'm, you know, and I was doing that as a little kid. So now it's just part of what I've trained myself to do. And I really enjoy doing that for a live show. So, you know, people think you just rock up and off you trot, but I actually do a lot of, I put a lot of thought and effort into every show, literally a show that I then take on the road. It's not like, obviously there's a little bit of difference every night, but it's still really well thought out, and I guess, you know, that's paid off because I've been able to tour all over. I've pretty much played at every biggest festival in the country because of it, but that's not just come through fluke. That's been hard work too.
Yeah, it's never a fluke. I think it's when you make it look easy, it's because there is so much work behind it. But as you said, you're putting together a new show. So I imagine sometime this year we'll get to see that show.
Yeah, well, the Moonshine album is going to come out. So Moonshine's the first single off the new album, and we've got a whole new theme, and it's going to be the next step from Wanted, which is because I'm like, oh my gosh, I've gone from wearing leather jackets and jeans to now I've created this. And again, it wasn't planned. It all kind of just happened where I'm like, wait a minute, if I'm going to do this country rock meets spaghetti western, I have to have a costume. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, now I have to buy a fake gun and a gun holster. But it all made sense, and it was really fun to create. Again, I guess that's my theatrical background from my grandfather, but I was able to create this character and everyone loved it. I mean, to think that album got, you know, nominated for Contemporary Album of the Year, and it wasn't even commercially, like, it wasn't pop at all. It was just creatively different, which everyone really appreciated that I went left, I guess. So for now, it's really fun to go, well, how do we go from Wanted? What is the next album? And I've now got a costume and I want to continue that, and I'm having fun. I'm enjoying that season of my career, and it's still on brand. So yeah, so it's really fun. So we're calling the Wanted album 1883. Right. And the new album Moonshine is going to be slightly more modern. So we're calling the Moonshine album the Yellowstone. So it's that's the sequel, the prequel, sequel, whatever you call it. Yeah.
Love
it. The show will also have that side of it as well. Because with the Wanted album, we did a lot of visual with Western film stuff, and like we had chicks in bars in old Western films punching each other up, and as part of the show to make it really fun and enjoy, you know, take the people on a bit of a journey of the show. So we'll do the same with Wanted, but it's going to be set in the Moonshine era, which is kind of a whole new era, and it's fun. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's good.
Well, I can't wait to see that show. I hope you announce dates soon. In the meantime, I'm going to leave you to the rest of your evening. It's been so good to talk to you, Jayne, and love the song, love Wanted. Looking forward to the new album. Thanks for talking to me.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.